hoping we get a little bit more in this season, as neither of us are confined to the constraints of a single team and having to, practice and things like that. So maybe some more time for this. Perfect, even better. So. Perfect. Good comment as well. So, Alterac Pass, obviously a gigantic map where most of the time, if you're playing it properly, 3/4 of the team falls asleep. But that's okay. We're going to see what teams have up their sleeves, whether it's, the strong Ragnaros pick, what kind of macro. There's the Samuro ban coming out. And yeah, going to be curious how Pepegas on Ice use their first pick advantage.
The crusade calls.
Yeah. You coach them. Ha. That does explain some more. And that looks like. Oh no.
Ball manually and see if that does things. It sure looks like that did things. The
Oh,
bar is wiggling a lot more now. Thank you,
Wow,
Boreal,
good
for the
thing.
comment.
Yep, because you were lighting up and not showing up. Hugger and Kelthos picked up in the 2-3 for Pepegas on Ice. That is pretty standard, I would say.
Yeah, this is looking just
no
like a
big
good
surprises.
stuff comp coming out from Pepegas.
Yeah, it can go in a lot of directions. T-Core, new to the team, so we'll have to see what they have to contribute. So, that'll be exciting. Stukov banned out, another good target ban, I would say.
You might think, but I think it depends on whether Creepio or T-Core is fulfilling the healer role. Creepio,
True.
a very solid Stukov player. T-Core, I haven't actually seen him play Stukov. I think he said he's not particularly comfortable on the hero. The heroes that I've seen him play healer for were quite good, but they were also a little bit off meta. So, look to potentially see maybe a white main or an Uther where you wouldn't otherwise expect to see one.
All right, that's the Banduin coming out, which isn't, again, anything super big here. So we'll have to see. This will really define where the teams opt to go with the composition. Jaina for the burst damage. I know you've been favoring her lately, and I wonder if Blizzard took the wheel there. Alex Straza as a pickup, a very uncommon pickup, but I kind of like it.
I do too, especially for the style of map that Alterac Pass is. You described it as everyone gets bored for the whole game. I almost think of it as everyone becomes an offlaner for at least a portion of the game. where the objective, although good, takes so long to acquire that it is often more beneficial to just soak, get a small advantage, and use that to come back, get the objective back. And Alexstrasza is the absolute queen of out-of-combat healing. So being able to keep people nice and topped off, I think, is going to be very good for them.
Yeah. And she also has a very solid amount of healing. Or, wait, okay, hold on. She also has a very functional amount of wave clear. Where she can just kind of pop a wave after a short amount of time at not a lot of investment. So if she has to go in wave clear, I think that's pretty good. And Bird is going to finish up with a Tracer pick.
I rather like it. There is not a good shutdown button for Tracer on the side of Pepegas on Ice. Obviously, Double Blinds stops her from dealing damage, but nothing really stops her from just kind of hanging out near a Hanzo or a Kel'Thas, other than Kel'Thas' own living bombs.
Yeah. We'll have to see what Pepegas on Ice does that. They do have CC, but it's all relatively weak into a Tracer. No point and clicks, anything like that. So, could run a little wild.
All right. I have no idea what the length is on the prediction that I just threw up, because it is whatever the time was from last time, but go ahead and throw your heals into the bucket towards whichever team you think is going to take game number 1.
And if you lose all your heals, Ektar doesn't get to ZD1 Brightwing anymore. Sorry, that's how it works.
Alright, Ace, why don't you take the left-hand side?
Sounds great. On aforementioned left-hand side, we have Pepegas on Ice with Peas playing Johanna. Creepio on the Hanzo, Torrens playing the Hogger, Sulfrenia on the Kael'thas, and Tikor on the Deckard Payne.
And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, they are heavy group therapy with the Wangwin playing Alexstrasza, Bird on Tracer, Uga playing the Leoric, Shadra playing the Underking himself, a Nubarak, and Nalo, I'm going to call Jaina.
Kenny, I forgot it's been too long because I did not remember that it's the trunks that we have to go with. Shout out to Total Biscuit.
Yeah. Literally every time, drop your lulls in the chat.
I feel like I've dishonored his memory. R.I.P. Total Biscuit 07.
Very quick pause.
Might have, I would say, maybe some lag issues. That would be the first thing evident in game, I would say. Mm-hmm. So we have time to look at some level 1 talents, like simple geometry on the Hanzo, and of course, good-mannered Deckard taking Sapphire on one instead of stacking.
Yeah, I think On the Prowl is the only talent that I don't look at and go, yes, this is correct.
It's still
largely because I'm not a Hogger player.
It's still pretty correct.
Hotkey issue. Someone called Jack Attack.
Oh my god, somebody called a hotkey gremlin. That's
what I said.
Yeah.
On the side of HGT, we have Alexstrasza going into Q build, which I find very interesting. Further emphasizes the out-of-combat healing being completely unparalleled after level 7. Before that, you are talenting to using your own health as a resource. Granted, you get more than 100% return on investment for that health, but you are cutting your health without a significant way of getting it back in the early game. But against the largely poke focus coming out from Pepegas on Ice, it could go well, unless they are able to get some good combos going. They have combo potential with Bless Shield and everything Deckard Cain has, and Dragon's Strike? Arrow. Dragon's Arrow. Strike is the cinematic dragons.
Yes, it is.
Man.
Ektar, I have a piece of trivia for you that you may not know, because I just found it out. Alexstrasza has a passive trait for Dragon Queen.
Yep.
What is her other passive trait?
Are you talking about the passive that's inherent to her Q, where she has 150% health regen?
Correct.
Yeah, which is so weird that it's tied to her Q.
Yeah, that's weird. But they put it there instead of tying it to... instead of or trait, but I kind of get it.
It is the ability that is impacted, kind of, by it. I mean, really,
Yeah.
it's very weird that they didn't opt to just make it part of her baseline, like, hero design.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just made the number bigger.
Yeah.
Ooh, a lot of
it's
damage
wild.
coming into Leo. Hogger
Feels
getting
like
a really big spin.
Yeah, that was a nice spin through there. Leoric took a lot of damage too. And now they're trying to do a little bit of pressure onto Bird, heading down towards that bottom lane as the team split out and start doing God's gift of macro.
Bird has not yet chosen a level 1 talent, by the way.
Interesting. I think the level 1s on Tracer are fairly standard. I think it's Parting Gift is the standard talent at this point, and 1-2 punch is viable. So I'm not super certain there is 1-2 punch picked up. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Both teams go into camps. Pepegas on Ice going to be finishing it very quickly, as well as
You would
heavy
think.
group therapy.
I didn't see exactly what happened, but Torrens was definitely not spinning. Makes me think that there was probably an attempt that didn't get a perfect 90-degree angle, and so it lost momentum, which actually allowed their opponents to get the camp faster, when I think that they otherwise normally wouldn't. Creepio
Yeah, I
is
also think they
ruining
just,
top lane. By the way.
Heavy group therapy, I think, just started earlier as well.
It was about the same time. They're both there very similar. And I think that probably Hogger does it faster than both Alexstrasza and Jaina at this phase in the game if they get an infinite spin.
Yeah, true. You mentioned that top lane matchup is an interesting one where Creepio really isn't in a position to take damage ever, but is more threatened by the existence of a gank, for example. So I think that's a neat one.
True. Bird tried to make a little bit of stuff happen onto Torrens, didn't get it. Yeah, the only downside to this lane arrangement for Pepegas on Ice is that it'll take a month and a half for Hanzo to get stacks.
Yeah, that's gonna take a long time. I've been watching Creepio try and hit a couple, but getting 2 stacks onto a mid lane Leoric is
Honestly, I don't even know if
bit of
I'd be
good luck
using
here.
W at this point. Like, just the Q for wave clear and
Yeah,
then
the
auto
wave
attack
clear.
to pressure him just a little bit.
Yeah.
Looks
no,
like
I
we
think
had
that's
Bird
like
full
fair.
back. Torrens doing a really good job in the bot lane with that extra health and sustain. We do have the double gem build coming out for the side of Pepegas on Ice. Not unexpected. I wouldn't even be surprised for them to go triple gems going to an Alexstrasza opponent. So look how fast that camp gets taken with Infinite Spin.
I was much quicker. Jaina's burst comes through early, but they are lingering around for just a little bit. Much like the chill that was taken on level 1.
Yeah, and continuing the chilling, we have the Frost Armor on 4. A little bit less common of a talent, especially because there's really not a dedicated auto attacker for Pepegas.
Yeah, I mean, it's just free chill stacks against, like, a frontlining. Here comes a dive, but nothing major coming out of it. So, interesting. Usually you do see one of the mana return talents, and here we're not seeing either of them. So Jaina's mana will be something that will be mentioned several times throughout this cast, including right now, as she's trying to back, gets it interrupted, and then has to start backing again.
Yeah, it is in fact triple gems as expected. That back is going to mean that Pepegas have a lot of time to push it onto this front wall, and there's really nothing that the side of Heavy Group Therapy can do about it other than face tank damage and try to heal it off. Because there's just zero threat at all in these two heroes. The Bird rotates in, and they get exactly one Johanna shield with the value out of the Pulse Bomb, and now they're going to have to go back to bot lane.
To be fair, Pulse Bomb is a glorified basic ability at 1.
Yeah.
And,
Looks like Jaina not the only mage having mana difficulties.
Yeah, it does 50% more damage than a melee, for reference.
It's not a ton before you pick up the
No.
upgrade.
No. Take it away, Ektar. The dog is whining to go out, which means she really needs to go, so I'll be back in just a second.
Alrighty, we did have, if not an infinite, a sufficiently angled spin to get through all of the camp that time. Shout out to Corin in the chat. And then Nalo and the Wangwin continuing to sort of lose ground versus the single pickup of Hogger. Pepegas have decided that this is the time they've abandoned bottom lane and they're going to use their mana advantage to try and get some time on this objective. Uga is in position to maybe make something happen, but Peas does get the first channel. I wouldn't be surprised to see Pepegas sort of abandon this if Heavy Group Therapy come on in because they don't have a significant advantage yet. They really would like to get that 10 first, although HGT have the 10 advantage earlier, so probably they're going to try to use their own 10s to step in, get a little bit of channel time, and then force Pepegas to respond to them. What are we likely to pick up on 10s? Janet could go either. I think Ring is a little bit stronger unless Pepegas go into the Falling Sword. They don't tend to favor it. It is the Ring. We got the Entomb. I think that the Lifebinder is by far the better heroic pickup here. Big engagement coming out onto Peas. They do get the root after the shield is already expired, and that is First Blood going over to the side of Heavy Group Therapy, really doing what they can to make those heroics get them value. They actually get a second kill onto Sofreni, who was not able to pick up the mini pods that were nearby. There was a truckload of them, but just didn't have the mobility. Crypto is going to try to get some stalls, get stunned by Shadra, is going to be able to walk away. Pepega's doing a great job of continuing to try to stall this objective out. Houndzo is very good for that, as well as Deckard. Although Creepio is in a bit of a rough spot. Bird finds the kill on the Torrents of bot lane. That is huge. T-Core does not have another interrupt, and that is going to be some channel time going over in favor of Heavy Group Therapy.
Alright. That was a very protracted kind of defense phase, but I think, as you mentioned, Bird getting that kill is kind of the decisive point because it prevents Pepegas from getting really any value from stalling out the objective any further. So that's a really key pickup, and I think Tracer does have an advantage in that matchup.
Oh, for sure. We did actually have Pepegas pick the top lane back up, so no more channel time going to either team. And have not mentioned their heroics. We do not have the Falling Sword. We have Blessed Shield. I think Phoenix is very expected, as well as the Dragon's Arrow. Shockwave and Lornado are also coming in.
Lornado is that's a wild pickup here.
I'm a big Lornado fan. I don't know that I would have taken it here, though, just because there's so much combo, not only potential, but almost combo necessity coming up from Heavy Group Therapy. So if you're able to disrupt that with the Stay a While and Listen, which is way easier to do than it would be with Lornado, you can absolutely save some people, and that is what Deckard tends to struggle with.
Yeah. Furthermore, I think at 20, the silence on it is lethal to Tracer.
Yes.
Which is a real big deal. Otherwise, on interest on our orange team here, we have Pulse Rounds from Tracer, which I believe is the least common ult picked up in Toon for exactly the snow, and that's about it. So that's an interesting one here. Otherwise, I think pretty normal across the board.
Peas does get a stun onto Bird, but they are able to blink away. Almost all heroics are up for the side of Pepegas Nest. There was a nice stun, root, stun combo, but the Lifebinder is good, and Nalo survives. 13s are picked up for the side of Heavy Group Therapy, and Pepegas are in full retreat. I think they're going to get out. Yeah, no Entomb is going to make that very likely. Ooh, big damage going into Nalo, and are still able to walk away after the nice stun from Torrens. Uga does find the counter kill. Peas is in a bit of rough spot, probably doesn't have shield. The counter kill coming in from Creepio. That is a 1-for-1 trade in this fight. That is still a pretty big XP lead for the side of Heavy Group Therapy, as they're going to work on this channel. But the Beatles are not powerful enough with the members of Heavy Group Therapy in position. The kill onto Hogger means that there's finally going to be a camp advantage coming out from Heavy Group Therapy.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing, that I think Heavy Group Therapy's done a very excellent job getting both their members over to the camp pretty frequently, so that pressure will now, as you said, have some kind of advantage for them, as Hogger is only now starting up the point. Kale does pick up a good pile of XP in the bottom lane, which is going to go unsoaked. So Pepegas is still holding on to about rather is down by about half a level, but isn't anywhere in too rough of a shape unless HGT try and make something happen with a momentary 16 advantage, which is what they may be working towards.
That's a really long time. I would expect one of the teams to try to make a outnumbered play before that. Especially with
I could
Tracer
expect
having
that.
shown in bottom lane, we see Pepegas stepping up to try to make exactly an outnumbered play happen. And it looks like Sulfurnia does get the charge. Shader just not getting the impale in time. It's now a 5v, even talent here, as both teams are now pushing all the heroics.
Yeah, there goes the all 10 have been pushed. You can see him at the top. Jane is the first one taken out by a flame strike. Hogger nails 2 into the wall, and now Heavy Group Therapy is in a little bit of retreat as Pepegas on Ice are attempting to stabilize their lines and get healed up from the Deckard Cane here. Super potions are available to increase the potency of that healing after a delay, so we'll see. And Uga is going to go ahead and escape. And HGT just split out to lanes as the first objective is picked up 11 minutes into this game.
It wasn't boring, though.
It wasn't, but this is the only map that anything like that could occur. And it happens more regularly.
True. The closest you probably get is Volskaya, where the second objective will sometimes stay uncapped forever, but not the first.
Yeah.
I will say, that was a very esports fight. Both teams kind of got near each other and just pushed all the buttons. And
Yeah, clicked hard.
I'm here for it, honestly. That, in many cases, makes team fights more fun and interesting. Tico
Yeah, there's
looking
a
for
lot
a bit of a
going on
combo
there.
onto Nalo. Doesn't actually find it, though. Jaina's able to step back.
Yeah. Let's see. In the last fight, notably, Sulfurnia was the one channeling and then stepped up further to try and join the team. And that's when Tracer was able to swing around to the back, and Shadra on the Anubrak was able to dive in. So that could be where HGT tries to make their engages in the future. So keep an eye on that.
What I'm keeping my eye on is Uga, who is getting chased down by POI. They get actually some very respectable damage. However, if Leo's got tapped, pretty much able to take it away. We see HGT already starting bottom boss.
Yeah,
Pepegas,
with a 4-man rotation up, that's a perfect time to go for bottom boss. And they've got Jaina, who can do a lot of damage very quickly.
notably, I think that they stay out of vision, so Pepegas probably just think that they are doing something safer, but in fact they are not. They're taking bottom boss, and because POI are only sieging onto the wall now, they can rotate up and stop their opponents from taking top boss.
Yeah, that's very true. POI does seem to be in a good spot to take most, if not all, of this top 4, as long as they keep vision to be safe. We see that Heavy Group Therapy is not rotating up too much, so they will pick up a second fort out of all that, and I think that's a good use of the, not out of position play, it's just a trade at this point of boss versus fort.
And it looks like with the rest of POI rotating in now, Heavy Group Therapy might not even get this bottom fort because they committed so heavily to the mid camp and didn't commit any DPS besides Tracer into actually taking down bottom fort. However, they're now trying to make a top fort play. And I want to see if anyone on POI can see this. Just barely,
Yes.
I slipped over to their vision. Jaina was spotted by that minion wave. Let's see if POI are going to try to counter boss. They are not. We do have Torrens in bottom lane getting that fort. Perhaps that is what they identified as their advantage.
Yeah, it does seem that, or that is what they have chosen to make their advantage at this point. I want to point out some 16s before fighting gets started. We have the increased dragon duration for Alex Straza, root on the Jaina, the double auto attack build for Leo, and Giant Slayer on the arrows from Creepio. So lots of percent damage into the frontliners, and no staff of bonking here. We have safety in numbers.
That actually surprises me quite a bit because Tracer
Yes.
is a problem for them. Looks like we had a missed Lifebinder as it goes on to 2 nearly full health targets. So Uga is going to get taken out before the Abundance pops, and things are all coming up in favor of Pepegas and Ice after that team fight. Shader, Nalo, and the Wangwin doing everything they can to get out.
Yeah, the Heavy Group Therapy members tried to push through that narrow corridor, and Hanzo plus Kael'thas ripped through that so incredibly quickly, and the Phoenix was able to finish off Tracer. So good team fight positioning there for Pepegas on Ice should give them this second objective very quickly.
Yeah, and they'll get a little bit of damage on top wall, but not even... They'll get 1 tower and half of the actual gate, so really good advantage coming up from Pepegas on Ice. In fact, the top minion wave is still already pushed out, so it's not even like the cavalry are not going to have support.
Yeah, this is going to be a big push here for Pepegas on Ice. We'll see what they can get from it. And for Heavy Group Therapy, going to have to make a really staunch defense pre-20.
Yeah, they have the capability. They really just need to hold on for Ring, and they could try to make an even fight under their own keep. It'll be difficult because the Cavalry does increase damage, healing, and move speed, but if they're able to find the lockdown, well, it doesn't matter if you have 30% extra move speed when your move speed is then multiplied by 0.
Yeah, Root from the Jane on 16 could easily do that. Ring plus Entomb combo also has a capability of doing it. Bird goes ahead and recalls off a Living Bomb into another Living Bomb. Just for talent positioning there. His 20s are now picked up for Pepegas on Ice. Raw Ring goes in, only lands onto Creepio. Nyla takes a lot of damage, as well as Shadra, who goes down first, puts Johanna in a cocoon before they go down, but that is not going to stop the Pepegas push here in the bottom lane.
We do have the 20s picked up for them. We've got the Bullseye coming up from Hanzo, Flamethrower, no control, perfect gems, I think it is? Yeah,
that is perfect
the conclusion
gems.
of gem build. And my favorite talent in the entirety of the selection, Radiating Faith.
Oh, what a ridiculous level 20 upgrade that is. They can, they might be looking to take a second keep out of this. Mid keep is sitting at about 3/4 health, but they've got a minion wave and a player advantage, so let's see what
Buried Alive coming in big, though, hitting it out into 2. We don't have Jaina in range for the follow-up, though, so the Buried Alive hits, but isn't able to get converted into anything, and that is about all I feel like Heavy Group Therapy can do to reasonably try to muster a defense on this keep. Anything that goes badly for them could be the game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Ring was about 20 seconds off of that, so they didn't. They weren't able to commit that combo. We'll see if that's what they go for in the future, if they transition this more to a frontline blow-up style of Entomb plus Ring and just try and delete somebody right up front.
I wonder if either of the teams are cognizant that boss is up in like 15 seconds in bottom lane.
That would be pretty big. Ektar, do you remember if boss kills on a 2 keep down core?
I believe that it does.
I think it does as well.
We had Peas going in for a little bit of an engagement. Tracer's in mid, so it would have been a great time for them to fight. Didn't opt to go for it. Heavy Group Therapy coming in as 5. I didn't actually mention all of the 20s for them, but I don't know that we have time because Bird is looking to make something happen. We have the cocoon coming out onto Johanna, and it is off to the races.
Yeah, Torrens takes a lot of damage, is essentially 1v4 back there, but it's traded off for a Jaina kill in the back. The second Ring upgrade hits for 2, gets a bunch of cooldown for when she comes back, but now it's a 4v4 with a damage dealer down essentially on each side, one being a bruiser. Peas takes a lot of damage. Here comes the Lifebinder, gonna do a lot. Here come Rubies, an Ancestral and a half, almost 2 worth of healing right there for Peas is gonna keep the team up and going as the Pepegas are still in retreat. T-Core with very low health, but Creepio goes and finds a kill on Uga up in the top lane with that scatter arrow and ends up turning that into the Pepegas' favor.
Yeah, and notably, there is one relevant heroic still left, and it is that Blessed Shield with Radiating Faith upgrade, not popped during that team fight. So if they find the members of Heavy Group Therapy in a spot that they don't want to be in, they can make that a one team fight very fast.
What I would like to see the Pepegas do right now is have one person occupy point and just rotate everybody down to bottom boss.
Top boss is now available as well.
Oh, look who's looking at bottom boss. Okay, that's a bit bold. If Heavy Group Therapy gives up on this objective, I think it just wins the game straight out, even through a boss. Like, this is...
I think you're very likely correct. Heavy Group Therapy have decided... Heavy Group Therapy have decided that they don't have time to defend on the objective, even though Leoric could have been up by now if you were getting that Undying value. Pepegas and Ice really aren't pushing their advantage right now. They have not assessed where their opponents are. They haven't, I don't think, have even checked this camp, which they themselves might start. They do, which is a nice little advantage, and that's going to really help because there's going to be more uptime from that armor cut onto their core. I think they could have found more if they were looking harder, but it's still going to be a very rough defense for Heavy Group Therapy.
Yeah, 6 null camps pushing in, full arsenal of heroics, and a whole set of cavalry coming in just a minute. Nice ignite there, or flamethrower plus ignite's gonna get that cooldown, get a lot of damage. Shadra's going in with the rewind, tries to find somebody, finds not a whole lot. Neither does the ring. Creepio's Dragon Arrow hits for a couple. Jaina gets the Life Binder, extended Life Binder to stay at full health, but overall, Pepegas look extremely healthy in this fight, and the core does not.
Yeah, core is falling fast, and at this point, even without heroes, I don't think HGT could defend, and that is game number 1 going over in favor of Pepegas on ice. On the iciest map.
Wow, I mean, that's home field advantage if I've ever seen it.
I mean, they could be a West Coast team in a neutral division. That would give them a bigger advantage, but besides that...
It's a deep cut, Hector. I'll be right back for the dog.
Alrighty. Checking out that score screen. Look at that damage coming out from the Hanzo. Tracer and Kael'thas pretty close. Hogger. Jaina really, I think, not getting the E resets that they would have been hoping for. Respectable siege damage, but as far as team fight and combo ability, not, again, where I think that they were kind of hoping for. Look at the heal numbers. The Wangwin eclipsing Deckard by about 20k, but that tends to be what you see. The team that receives more damage often will deal more healing. Let me go ahead and choose prediction outcome. 100% payout in favor of Pepegas on ice. Congratulations to all of the non-zero people who definitely contributed to that prediction.
Perfect. Yeah, looked like a solid first game of the season for Pepegas on ice. I thought they executed a lot of good counter engages. They had to play against a tough Tracer Anubrak style dive, and they seem to do it quite well. I would love to see on the side of heavy group therapy a little more coordination on the ults together. I think they can find some heavy value if they can work those in just a little bit better. I saw a lot of individual plays, but not a lot of team plays.
That's about what my assessment for both teams, and it just kind of came out that Pepegas were able to individual a bit better than heavy group therapy, largely on the account of their hero selection. Like, versus as much backline as Pepegas on ice had, Jaina's gonna have a hard time, and we see that reflected in the hero damage numbers. Whereas, Hanzo, Kael'thas, Johanna, Hogger are just so generically useful that even if you're not comboing with the rest of your team, you're probably just putting out good my hero role, as long as you're, playing competently, which I would say that they were. Deckard is the most combo necessity character on the side of Pepegas, but Deckard comes built with his own combo inherent if you take Sapphire on ones, so he's a little bit less beholden to the rest of the team compared to their opponents.
Yeah, can I just point out, I know it doesn't need to be said as much, but maybe it should be. Sapphire is a ridiculous talent. A 70% slow in an area is ridiculous. Like,
on a hero with multiple other forms of crowd control.
Yeah, he can combo it into more crowd control. It's okay, sorry, 65% slow. My mistake. They can move 14 millimeters further. And especially with that perfect gems, can just fire off multiple sapphires. Really makes it hard to land follow-up.
As a big believer in the Deckard Cain, Sapphire into Scroll of Sealing into Lornado is a hell of a combo, especially in ARAM where you can kind of get away with doing that. So fun though. And I'm sure it absolutely makes people have a worse day at the end of it.
Perfect. That's what we want, is people to have a worse day.
I mean, not me.
If they're the opponents, maybe. regardless, where is our status game number 2? We seem to just be waiting just a little bit. Try and find waiting for heavy group therapy to figure out if they want the pick or the map. It looks like context clues. This was Pepegas' pick, as their whole party is in here first.
I feel like this is what happens when neither Tom nor I are in the game. Because I'm pretty sure...
Compton's right here.
Is he actually?
Yeah, I think so for game 2.
Oh, dang. I suppose this is what happens when I'm not on the team, because I feel like we have no idea what to do on this map between objective phases. But
Excellent. We'll see if that's a discussion point, Ektar.
it sure is.
Never mind. No.
Tom Jin has left the lobby.
It's Raptor coming
It
in.
is Raptor, whom we saw in the Twitch chat, I believe.
Yeah, and apparently had a pop-based keyboard incident.
Notably, that means he lives somewhere where they call it pop.
Correct. So, like the upper Midwest and the Northeast.
Yeah.
Pop is falling out of favor in general lexicon.
I have mostly stopped calling it pop since I moved to California. Largely, I just use proper nouns for things.
Isn't that just easier sometimes?
Most of the time, I find.
Yeah. And then the South goes so far with that, everything's just a Coke.
Yeah, everything is the same proper noun. That way you don't even have to remember.
I do not understand that one, but whatever. I'm gonna be me for a second. There's a really nice looking storm right outside my window. It looks very nice.
We have not had any of the members of Heavy Group Therapy in for game number 2 yet.
And we are confirming that the link was not posted in lobby chat.
Apparently, if you just copy the text, it will not do the hyperlink.
Nope. 'Cause that is how things work.
Also, pop in Canada. The whole of Canada. That's interesting to me.
Okay.
Canada is so large that I wouldn't have been surprised if it, like the United States, has some regional variance there.
I wouldn't either. Okay, we do have everybody in the lobby, hoping to get this started underway in just a moment. Drum roll. We, of course, are ready. One big thing last game, only 3 out of 5 on Portrait Synergy for Heavy Group Therapy. They've picked up a 4th.
Also, only 4 out of 5 for Pepegas on Ice. The newest member, T-Core, is still trying to be some kind of individual.
Gross. Can't believe it. So, yeah, 4 out of 5 versus 3 out of 5. That previous game was decided before it started, but now we should have a much more competitive game with equal portrait synergy.
They could fix it between now and the game start.
It could.
Give themselves that extra advantage that they need going into this next game.
Heavy Group Therapy has indicated they are ready. Ektar, what kind of things do you want to see from Heavy Group Therapy on Towers of Doom here?
Junkrat?
That's pretty good. You know what? You can just punctuate that statement there. Junkrat, period, done. Gross. Yuck. Ick. Bleh. There was also the Chromie ban who would be very effective.
True.
So that might get banned out again. I would expect it. Chromie is quite solid on this map, I would say. So we'll see.
Just like on the previous map, having the ability to stall an objective has a large amount of value here on Towers of Doom, hence the call for a Junkrat. Also, he's just really good. He's another one of those kind of generically good heroes. He's fallen off a little bit since the nerfs at some point in the relatively recent future, or recent past. The nerf to heavy wound timers and I don't know, there's probably some other nerfs in there. I don't know what they were.
Oh yeah, you're right. I know his extra wound / wound timers.
You're right, I did say it wrong.
That is one of my favorite double entendres of Storm, is whoever made the talent extra wound timers or extra wound timers. Love it, because they last longer and do more damage. It works for both.
The number of people that get upset when I call it wound is incredible as well.
It works technically. Goodness. Chromian Zeratul banned out again. Sylvanas and Stukov banned out again. And
Wasn't Stukov banned in the third round last time?
yeah, and also Pepegas have first pick apparently.
The crusade calls.
That's not what I saw in the lobby earlier when it said Team 2 had first pick.
It
But
does make more sense to me.
makes sense.
I
That's
was
fair.
waxing poetic about how I didn't think that POI were especially good on the map. So seeing that it wasn't their map pick, checks.
Okay. That does... I did check when we went into the lobby, though, and it said Team 2 first, so... Yeah. There's Kale and Muradin picked up. Very different comp.
This looks exactly
early.
like what I would expect Pepegas and Ice to open with.
A Muradin, too?
Yeah, Raptor loves
Cool.
Muradin.
Oh, there you go. Instead, that's the Johanna yet again.
Yeah, so
and then Dahaka, who I think is very good on this map.
we are seeing Raptor in for Creepio. Raptor, I would say, decidedly the most aggressive player on Pepegas on Ice currently. Although Creepio making a pretty good showing of himself in the previous game, I have to say.
Yeah, I thought Creepio played the Hanzo quite well. Really took it to the Leoric in a lot of cases, both in and out of the off lane. So, yeah, again, I thought that was some really solid play.
Yo, I gotta say, I still feel like Hanzo fucks in this comp, though. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't argue it.
Bless Shield, Dragon's Arrow, Horrify.
Woo, hoo, hoo.
That sounds like dead anything. Ana getting banned out. That's interesting. I wonder if they know something about Tikor that I haven't gotten to see yet.
Well, we might not know, considering it might or might not be banned. Tikor is slotting into the heal slot again, I would imagine, with Creeper being out. But again, we'll see what comes up in this 3-4 for heavy group therapy. Do they want to take it a little slower, a little faster of a comp?
Yeah. Peas is the Caribbean representative for Pepegas and Ice, which means he tends to play heroes that doesn't require a lot of skill shots. So most played amongst him while I was on the team was Dahaka and Garrosh. So seeing him on the Dahaka is very not a surprise here. The Wangwen playing the Tyrande, I feel like I've seen this before and I like it. Really looking to continue their blow-up style from the previous game.
I'm curious, Ektar, with a Muradin as your main tank?
Yeah.
Ooh, my goodness, Uther is a healer pickup on this. With Muradin as your main tank, he likes to jump in and engage. Do you take flare range on Tyrande so you can more reliably follow up if you're looking for blow-up, or do you still tend to go for the Owl build?
I personally feel like if you're positioning for your tank to be aggressive, you can usually be in E-range anyway, because the base range is quite decent. But I can definitely see the argument.
Last pickup is the Hanzo. Still seems very solid regardless of comp. There are 4 different stuns, or heroes with stuns on heavy group therapy. You've got Stormbolt into Flare, into Lapse, into Dragon's Arrow, into getting de-shielded.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Uther
CC
now
on
looking very
both times. Or both sides, rather.
Yeah, I think Uther's looking very solid right now, as long as the members of Pepegas on Ice can control their damage intake. Dahaka can self-heal, which works well with the comp. And Johanna could technically even take Laws of Hope to self-heal, leaving only DPS to have to fend for themselves. So could be... this Uther is a very, as you know as a healer, can really be a feast or famine style pickup.
Yeah, and it's working for and against Pepegas here. The damage core for the side of Heavy Group Therapy, who are spawning on the right-hand side in the orange trunks, with Shadra playing the Muradin, Bird on Hanzo, Uga playing the Leoric once again, the Wangwin on Tyrande, and Nalo just leaving the core on Kael'thas, are very good at poking, but also it comes baked in with a lot of crowd control.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what the response is from the blue trunks on the left side of the map, and Pepegas on ice with Silverani on Gul'dan, T-Core on Uther, Torrens on Jimmy John, Jim James, Rainer Raptor playing the Johanna, and Peas playing Dahaka. Will do about that counter engage.
Fight.
I'm down for dipping into the bit again, or doubling down on your bit.
We do have Owl build coming out from Tyrande, big fan. Yeah, congratulations to Heavy Group Therapy landing the Owl hit. This game is now forfeit. We will see you in here for game number 3. We do have a channel point prediction coming in. Thank you. Not all heroes wear capes.
Excellent. 10 heals risked on both sides because they're new here. They didn't have enough channel points, but now they do from watching game number 1. Anything interesting? Nice 3-person flame strike there. That was juicy. Any convectors in this team? Unfortunately, no.
No, we do got race car build, and we've got Fell Flame coming out from Sylphrenia, which I think makes a lot of sense here. Like, you want the consistent damage, but it's also like you're not hurting for damage in the comp either. So it's not like you're giving up anything by not going into the corruption build.
Yep, and it leaves you with a little bit more room to play with your range as well early on. Or once you get that quest completed.
You can see Raptor living up to that thing that I said about him already trying to run another opponent's team if they can make some stuff happen, as they have the Dahaka. They can dig down and make this into a 5v4 for a little bit. We see the dig coming in now.
Ooh, Jim gets flared and Peas takes the flare with it. Is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Health bars are low for Pepegas, but they do walk in and grab the camp and are able to make it out. So they pick up the camp invade there at no real cost. Nice job there.
Yeah, really nicely done. We have the rest of the team going back for some taps right now. T-Core is going into the W build on that Uther. That is the most common heal build by far. They did lose a little bit of mid-soak, which is why they had to rotate Torrens in to pick that up so they can immediately get Peas back into top lane. And using now their rotational advantage to put some damage into this mid-wall. Not a commonly seen strategy, as Sylphrenia steps in to get a globe and takes more damage than she healed off of it. Classic maneuver.
I love it. Uga's going to take a lot here. Okay, does good job of preemptively popping the E in order to prevent any kind of tongue drag shenanigans from occurring, as the first objective is spawning now, and both teams looking even on XP right now. The Raptors
Bird tried to tap.
Bird.
He tried to mount up, and that's what's going to cause him to take that extra damage. I think if he just walks away, he doesn't take any of that, and it is now... I think he's going to try to back anyway, so it's not like they're losing a lot other than a little bit of time, but you don't want to be backing at the start of the objective phase.
No, that's a big thing. It's hearth o'clock here for Heavy Group Therapy, and if Sylphrenia can channel this after one Owl interrupt, but there's no contesting this because the entire damage cores just had to back, so that's a quick 4-shot advantage over to Pepegas on ice.
I do like that Pepegas did the heads-up play of trying to block the Owl, but they didn't try to block it with enough body, so it wouldn't have even worked if they were in position for it. Shadra had jumped in, but is able to walk on out, so not taking too much damage, and will be able to heal that up over time if they're able to stay out of Torrens range.
It's in the top lane. It is Soak o'clock. Back to the bottom lane. It is retreat o'clock because the camps are coming up in 5 seconds, so... yeah, good macro occurring. That's my assessment, is that macro is occurring.
It sure is. A little bit of damage going out into Raptor, though, is going to get taken out. First blood to Heavy Group Therapy, and Pepegas are going to have to back off of this camp. More likely than not. The fact that they stayed on it as long as they did is ridiculous. Shadra looking to find something, can't find it. But that is a retributive camp steal going in favor of Heavy Group Therapy.
Yep, that is a... that'll shift the momentum right back to, I would say, about even on this map. Maybe even a little bit in favor of Heavy Group Therapy, since that top tower is already down, I guess, on both sides in the bottom. So
Ooh, Shade looking for
Torrens.
Torrens has the heads up to not go in there as it was betrayed by the Sonic Arrow. Really not gonna have been a ton that they could have done even if he did rotate down in that direction, but still the heads up play to not get engaged upon.
Yeah. Single or double altar phase here, both in the bottom lane, so we'll see what teams opt to do, whether they want to do something like leave one up top and just try and trade 1-for-1, or try and make a 5-man play and win both of them.
Uga looking like they wanted to maybe try to make a 5-man play, but deciding against it. A lot of damage is getting spread out by the members of Pepegas and Ice, but no one is particularly low. P's looking to try and come in here with that extra speed, isn't going to be able to find anything. Raptor in a bit of a rough spot, but does have the trait to get away. Kael'thas continuing to chunk damage into the back line.
Peace lands a tongue onto Uga. Follow-up damage is not particularly there. Pointing out here, with the Uther healer, compared to Tyrande, Pepegas do not do well in a protracted team fight, just because Uther cannot heal everybody up. They should have lots of taps available, but it's still an issue that could be dealt with. Sylphrenia gets jumped upon. Shadra's going to try and find Stormbolt. Ends up swapping over to Raptor. Leo gets taken out in the mid with the rotation up from T-Core and Torrens. Torrens is going to channel in mid, and now it is even in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Shader's in a bit of a spot. We find the stun onto Hanzo, and they're the next to go down. Shadra is pretty rough off. I didn't see how Peas got taken out. It must have been Leoric spawned? Is that how that happened?
Valore. Oh, Peas is fine. It was the Johanna.
Oh, right. Peas isn't even in this game, is he? No, yeah,
Peas
he
is playing
He's just
Dahaka.
not, yeah, yep. I'm all over the place right now. 10's getting picked up. One thing I kind of want to point out, though, Uther is actually leading in the heals right now. Just straight up.
You know, Tyrande does have the basic attack requirement to get a majority of her heal cooldown. So maybe the Zealous Glare from from Raptor rather is doing a solid in keeping those heal numbers down.
It is genuinely a big problem if that's something that Raptor is focused on.
Oh.
Big dragons coming out. Peas does dig down, gets stunned. Shader pops the avatar, is able to walk away. Oh, there's the tongue. Finally finding it onto Uga, and that is going to be the kill in this team fight. It looks good for the side of Heavy Group Therapy, but they just weren't able to quite convert, as we've got a sad meatball having not been expended in that fight yet. Probably would have converted a kill. Well, or at least forced out a D-shield, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna force a trade on those heroics. So looking at it now, the combo that needs to be coming out from Heavy Group Therapy is Entomb plus Starfall plus Dragon Strike. That will kill anybody in the Entomb, pretty much guaranteed. And that's what needs to happen most of the time, I would say. Here comes a Pyroblast, gonna just force a late D-shield out.
Uga's here, though. He's got the Entomb, so that is the save button out, and T-Core is the one caught in there. They really were hoping to get Torrens, but that should still be enough to get Uther. Raptor not quite in range with that Bless Shield.
Ooh, this is a good cut from the Dragon Strike. If Shadra can make a jump over, they might be able to find Sylphrenia or Raptor instead.
Oh, the stun!
Lapse does hit. Long-range lapse matter. Netherwind on 4 is a very good talent.
Big fan. Wish more KTs would take it.
Oh, man. So, 2 kills picked up for Heavy Group Therapy, and now, while behind in health, they are looking favorable to keep pushing. Avatar is popped for a little bit of extra tanking on this wall. Probably a little bit of a panic ult. I'm going to put the assessment out as Torrens takes just a couple side stuns, and that's what the comp does. It throws stuns out.
I thought that HG2 were going to go on to Raptor because we saw him pop shield. He does not have another one.
Yeah, entirely true. Just going to look for in the top lane for something interesting, but minions are dying, which is very interesting if you love macro.
I do love macro. There was someone in here earlier just posting math in my channel. Big fan. You should do that again.
Oh. Bottom bell tower is very low for Heavy Group Therapy. While it's not down yet, oh, nice protective blessed shield into Horrify. Gonna try and combo that onto Nalo. Is not going to find an immediate kill, and now the Starfall's really sectioning out this team very well. Here comes the Pyroblast, is going to be canceled after the D shield is shown and Uther is taken out. So Pyroblast still remains for this. Meanwhile, Jim also dies to the Leoric running down, and Heavy Group Therapy have a real advantage in this game now.
Yeah, they're really starting to get some solid momentum off of the back of these slightly better team fights. Really doing a better job of, well, one, buttonsing better as compared to the previous game, but they're also finding their combos. Shader looking for Sylphronia is going to get knocked back, but they have the Entomb, and that is going to be one dead Warlock.
It sure is, Danny, and that's what we're going to be seeing going into this top 2 Bell Tower phase here, and all signs point to this being a tied game very, very soon.
Yeah, we did have Pepegas looking like they wanted to try to step in for something. They made the, I would say, wise decision to not do that. Instead, opting to just sort of reset, get back into a macro posture, and they're really not actually behind anything of substance. In fact, arguably, they're up a little bit because this fort in bottom lane can die at any time, preferably just as the next objective phase is starting. Like, I think Pepegas actually want to not take this fort at the earliest opportunity.
Yeah, if it gets him to 16 sooner, it's not a bad idea, because this is, I believe, the only map with towers giving full XP immediately.
That is correct.
So...
I don't think that there's a significant window for Heavy Group Therapy, but we see another Leo flank coming in. They only find T-Core and doesn't even get stunned off the back of this. D-Shield is going to come out, but the Pyro got cancelled, so a nice sort of heads-up play coming out once again from Nalo. Every heroic getting popped, with the exception of the cancelled Pyroblast and the isolation from the Dahaka, who had never come in. That is, I would say, a pretty decent advantage in favor of Pepegas and Ice, because they were still soaking that whole time.
Yeah, they ate a lot of ults for that. D-Shield is really critical for making sure that the team only gets hit by one person, and post-20 it can't be Uther. I guess I can go area D-Shield as long as Uther doesn't get hit later on, so...
I mean, what if Uther is just in range to get the area? You don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, this combo of Starfall, Dragon Strike, Entomb is coming together for Heavy Group Therapy, and it's up to Pepegas on Ice to figure out how they're going to deal with it. And their HGT are going for the top 2, trying to make a little bit of an aggressive play here.
Minor lack of optimization. Tyrande could have thrown off an Owl immediately before channeling to get a little bit of slow rotation, but a huge Entomb is going to find 2. The Dragon Strike is going to come out and doesn't quite secure the kill onto Torrens or Sylphronia, but they're very low. However, Shadra is going to be the first to fall.
Wow, I can't believe nobody... Oh, Sonic Arrow kill from Bird! That is a boom headshot moment. Uga's going to try and make something happen here. T-Core is in a little bit of trouble. D-Shield is not available, but 15 armor absolutely is. Sylphronia is, I would say, in a slightly perilous flanking position here.
Yeah, this is where the extra poke potential from the side of Heavy Group Therapy, I think, is really starting to come in clutch. They can just pump out more damage than their opponents. Peas takes a big hit, isn't going to go down. Uga staying just a little bit too long, getting stunned by Raptor, is able to walk away, and this is going to go in favor of Pepegas on Ice.
After all of that, Pepegas do take the shot advantage here, going up 14-20, or 21-14 rather. So 7 shot advantage because of that bottom bell tower that was taken.
It's only 4k heal advantage in favor of Tyrande. You'd really want that to be a little bit higher at this phase in the game.
Yeah, Tyrande, of course the W build is going to be a little more mitigation focused rather than heal focused, but still, that's a...
Torrens gets tagged by that owl, which means HGT know that they can kind of step up here, as they are going to have a numbers advantage. And they're doing a really good job continuing to layer this CC, not taking too much damage from this fort. Torrens is going to pick this up, but I think it might give opportunity for HGT to pick up the bottom keep, now that we've gone into that phase of the game. And the Fury of the Sunwell is going to secure that keep, but at what cost?
The cost is a trade or a hit onto the Uther. There's a Horrify that goes for 3. It's looking kind of close, but Heavy Group Therapy nor Pepegas on Ice can make anything further occur, and Muradin should be up in time for any future altar phases, so all that, yep,
Just
will
barely.
spawn right as it. comes up, but he'll have that teleport through the mid.
Yeah. I would like to see T-Core micro these so that he can get his AoE damage onto all of them at one time. He's have to step slightly farther down away so they walk forward. Torrens is going to come over here and make that take a lot less time.
Yeah, Uther, not renowned for damage output on camps especially.
Yeah. Sophronia is stepping up here. A little bit risky as the members of Heavy Group Therapy are kind of sharking the area. They don't have their tank, though, so pretty safe to do so. Only the one objective. T-Core taking a bird to the face. And Shadra decides that now is the time. Jumps in onto T-Core. No combo really coming out from Heavy Group Therapy is no Entomb coming out, so not getting a lot done there. The D-Shield is going to eat the Pyroblast. We finally get the Entomb coming out onto Peas, but only taking a little bit of damage and finding the counter kill onto Leoric for it.
Ooh, Big Horrify is going to force Shadra into the teeth of the Pepegas, but Pepegas health bars, especially everybody, is looking quite low, but... Oh, Owl pops a kill, gets the Owl reset. T-Core now in trouble.
Oh, that could have been two!
Dodges.
That would have been two easily.
Oh my goodness, that would have been the sickest place. Lefrenia is actually still in trouble here.
Yeah.
I don't think she can easily get away from the remainder of the team. That is a rundown from Bird on the Hanzo, and now they Heavy Group Therapy.
Raptor trying to come in
pick
aggro
up
side
bottom.
is going to get a little bit punished. A lot of bit punished, maybe? We have the rewind, but Johanna does have the shield. Shadra is stepping up very aggressive. The rest of the team are content to take this keep, and I think that is the wise heads-up play.
Yep, Rewind came out just a hair slow to try and make the whole combo work, but it still forced out a whole bunch of stuff, and Rewind will be up not too long from now anyway.
We have the Awoken Dragon on the side of Heavy Group Therapy, along with Buried Alive is actually slightly worse for the side of Heavy Group Therapy for specifically the combo because it reduces the actual duration of it, but it provides so many other benefits that it's gotta be worth it, right?
I would think so. Divine Protection on the Uther as well, so it's not the area D-Shield, it is just 50 armor, which is still incredible, along with a second defensive upgrade, Blinded by the Light on the Johanna, so they can save a lot of people quite effectively.
Torrens is going to get damage cut there, so not able to flip this back quite as quickly as they'd like. Looks like the Heavy Group Therapy members are going to try and get this kill onto Torrens. Really good knockback, and I think it's a bit of an overcommitment because now there is nothing there to save Sophronia, who gets jumped upon. Is going to go down, but a big fear is going to push Shadra into the death zone. Shout out to Haunt giving you that 1 second extra duration. And that is a 1-for-1 trade that I think has to favor Pepegas and Ice because they lost damage shield, but their opponents lost a tank.
Yeah, I think that's entirely true. And looking at ults, we do have a 2-to-1 advantage right now with Heavy Group Therapy because of that cooldown.
Nice.
Ooh, huge
the
tongue
step
on
up
the
is going to get that kill.
Oh, big damage from the Kael'thas drops a multi-flame strike directly in, along with that Pyroblast. All of a sudden, everybody's looking very low. The drag lands for another kill, and the Blinded by the Light is going to keep the team sustained for long enough that the poke isn't going to convert through. Pepega's going to try and get a little bit more,
yeah,
a few more shots, just
I
one
thought
more
for
here.
sure they're going to try and get bottom back first. Torrens does take a singular strike. And with the members of Heavy Group Therapy, no. I mean, they shouldn't.
Oh, look at that heal. Oh, there goes that health again.
If Bless Shield comes up, then there's no way that this continues. I don't think that gets the interrupt. It does get the interrupt! You mad lads.
It's
Raptor has the heroic.
seconds.
Yeah. And yet Shadra comes in. There's the rewind. Torrens taking a truckload of damage. Nalo isn't in position to get the kill, but Bird is going to put himself there. So Horrify is going to stop the kill, as well as the D-Shield. Pepegas are buttoning out of their minds right now, but Heavy Group Therapy finds the counter kill onto Johanna.
Oh, that was some clutch set of plays. That was a lot of very good individual plays trying to come together.
Really
it's
on
still
both
a
sides.
4v4. Yeah, no, absolutely. Bird going in for the kill forces a lot of other stuff out, forces a Horrify to be used defensively. Entomb forces the D-Shield. It was really well played through both sides. Torrens is in a very compromised position. If they find him, they haven't yet. Instead, Peas is taking a lot of the damage here. It is not the Starfall upgrade. It is Shooting Star. Still an incredible upgrade, by the way. Entomb is not
stunned.
up, but Shadra and Uga are going to find a ton of damage on the Torrens. That's going to...
There's the Zoning Dragon.
That'll work for a kill on Sulfurnia. Owl picks up another kill this game.
Hoot, hoot,
on a piece, and all of a
motherfucker.
sudden, 3 kills over to Heavy Group's Therapy. Breaks the 2-minute-long stalemate nearly. And they can look to take a shot advantage in this game now for the first time.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like Bird is kind of putting the team on his back at this point. Just the Q build Hanzo having gone almost completely unpunished this game has really been working wonders for them. He's a huge amount in the hero damage by comparison, and we can check the heal numbers. 57 versus 62. Uther's still winning in raw heal throughput, so really well done by T-Core to keep the team in that regard, but the Hanzo has really been the difference maker. And not even with the heroics. It's just pumping out damage and not taking it.
To be fair, the heroics have definitely been very solid. Dragon Strike is a harder ult to get good value out of, and I think they're putting themselves in a great position to get the value by cutting off angles and putting it through key points.
I agree. I just think that the basic ability usage has been
Yes.
even more impactful. We do have 2 members from Heavy Group Therapy working to try to take the camp on their side of the map, which they're going to do. They're not going to be able to hold this keep, frankly. There's just a lot of siege damage on the side of Pepegas and so I'm really happy to see them making sure to draft that. As they are able to pick this back up. A lot of damage coming out from both sides. Really slight health advantage in favor of Heavy Group Therapy as we shift focus into the bottom lane.
Yep, all 10 members rotating that way. We're going to see, good vision from the Toronto Owl. Now teams fighting over it. Murden now in the compromised spot. Horrify does land, is going to force Murden towards the death zone, but isn't going to create any kind of kills. D-Shield comes out to protect against the Pyroblast again. Uga is spooking around and reducing damages all around. Does land in a really compromised spot, though, and gets taken out instantaneously by the Death Zone and the members of Pepegas on Ice. And that gives Pepegas a chance to put a real screw on this one with the double altar phase coming up.
Yeah, they haven't started rotating yet, though. This is maybe an overcommitment to taking this back. They had the dig out from Peas.
Yeah.
Really nice. Not using the Owl to get the interrupt on the channel, instead using it to try and poke and reduce the damage in bottom lane. And Peas, I think, making, again, the heads-up play not to engage up here, as they do not have support from the rest of their team, and they're going to trade up in net shots anyway.
They'll go even on it, I guess. It's 4-4.
Actually,
oh, no, they
slightly
shot
down,
3.
yeah.
Yeah, they shot 3 and got 4 back because it wasn't... because the bell tower was swapped over.
Shadra coming in the very aggressive route. Peas doesn't have the tongue, and they're going to lose their move speed before they're able to find it. Really good pickup in bottom lane from Pepegas. With the last objective having been in top, there's no way for it to be in top again. So this is a big advantage in the relevant lane. As we can see, the next objective will be all the way in the bottom.
It's a single bottom objective next time, so...
But a single bottom objective and boss wins.
Exactly. That's the kind of complex calculus we're here for.
Yeah, we're no simple geometry guys.
That's exactly what I was looking for. Huge chance for a buried. Lands onto the Uther. Does not get... He did get unsilenced for a second. Didn't have enough time to get the D-Shield out now. Is becoming the true healer form, though, and keeping the team alive through this huge bunch of damage. Nice double flare onto Peas, though. Gets a kill. Uga trades out his life, but that is a Leoric. Probably the least important one. Bird takes a ton of damage, but it is not... going to kill him, and instead Torrens is going to be in a ton of trouble, gets pyroblasted, and will be chased down by the myriad of stuns, and now this could just be the end of the game with boss plus bottom altar, as you were saying.
It could. So Frenia needs to stop them from channeling in bottom lane, but there's no way she can do it for the requisite 35 seconds for even the next hero to come out. I guess it's 20 for Uther, but... yeah, I think between the boss getting picked up and unless Sylphurnia can get a miracle kill onto Bird here. And speaking of Bird, one's coming in, just misses a little bit. And,
this is a great slow play from Bird, actually.
This is all over but for the core shots here, as Heavy Therapy are going to be taking game number 2, putting us into game number 3. in our best of 3 series. Exactly the kind of thing we like to see.
Absolutely. It's that is what we're here for, is game 3s. That was a banger of a Towers of Doom game. 24 minutes long, two teams, 2 level 24. Great. That was a good one. Really like that one.
All right, time to look at numbers. Burn.
Oh boy.
30k up on Torrens, who is only 700 up on Nalo, so a big overall damage disparity in favor of heavy group therapy. On the side of the healing, actually very comparable between the two teams. However, speaking of damage, Tyrande pumping out the damage, way eclipsing their counterpart on the side of Pepegas on Ice with T-Core. And, like, yeah, haha, your healer did damage, but at a certain point, it genuinely becomes relevant. Late game, when Tyrande is doing percent damage, very relevant. There were multiple bird-based kills in the late game, so very relevant talent build. Love to see it. And, yeah, Ace, do you see anything in here that you like, that you don't like, that you want to talk about?
I think you mentioned a lot of it. Hanzo did a really excellent job throughout that entire game. I'm going to give honorary MVP as well to Tyrande. I thought, despite, a little bit of ragging on the heal difference, was putting out the support that was needed. There were a lot of really good flare follow-up, really good owl hits that, again, don't factor into the heal number, but really turn the tide. And I thought these Starfalls were all very well placed. To just slow by 20% in an area is a really big deal when having to dodge, dragon strikes and tombs, etc. So I thought that was very well played on the end of Tyrande.
All right. So, if you are a Pepega, imagine if you will, what is your plan for Game 3 here? Okay, given that D-Shire is banned, what do you do?
Yeah, I was thinking, I forget exact tendencies and things like that. You want to... you won the big map, you lost the smaller kind of esportsy map, so I'm like, I'm wondering if they go to Tomb or something like that. But maybe they just want to go to, like, Sky Temple? That would be kind of wild.
They do have a Sky Temple draft.
Oh. Look at that.
Yeah.
I could see something like that. Go a little off the wall, don't let all the esports get to it, and then ban out, and go from there.
Sorry, you cut off a little bit at ban Whomst.
Who would you think?
Well, it sounded maybe like you said Hanzo.
Yeah.
Not sure why you'd want to do that, considering how impactful Hanzo was in Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, Hanzo's been big in both games.
Genuinely, yeah.
And on 2 different builds, too. W and Q. And 2 different ults.
Yeah, like, functionally no overlap. Maybe even literally no overlap. I don't remember what they took on 13.
They do have the same name.
They both took explosive arrows.
Oh, yes. So, Hanzo, if you're prioritizing the Johanna first, I think you have to ban out the Hanzo, but then you have to be threatening, whatever Chromie/Zeratul is. So, yeah. It's not an entirely enviable position to be in when you have to, you've identified that there is a threat and you also want to get rid of 2 others.
Is there a map that Hanzo's not especially good on? Infernal Shrines strikes me as a map he's not especially good on, because I'm pretty sure you don't splash on monsters.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Lobby's up.
Is it? Oh, you're probably...
I got an invite. List. It's Cursed Hollow. Okay. That's fairly similar.
I'm not sure I like this. It's also possible that they just chose for first hero pick, and this is HGT's
and they've been
map,
taken
and that makes
here.
sense.
Yep. Could very well be. I'd imagine they're rotating through the roster again, so we have Torrens in... I know that. Torrens, it's Tomjin that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Um,
So looks like Raptor is out for Game 3, and Creepio back in.
all right. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this game rolls out, really. Cursed Hollow is, one of the big maps that we identify that could be to the Pepegas' advantage. But we'll have to see what kind of draft, really heavy group therapy wants to go with. In game 1, I thought their ult combos were leaving something to be desired. Rings were fired off outside of Entomb or just flat out with no setup whatsoever. This previous game was a lot more coordinated with the Entomb, Dragon Strike, Starfall kind of combo. And the mage was just on a big damage button, which I think is very solid. So...
going along with that, now that we saw how they wanted to attempt to play game number 1, I don't think Alexstrasza was it. It didn't do anything towards their aggressive blow-up combos, and
you might be right there.
Yeah, it furthers a game style that they just weren't playing.
I could agree with that, and that's the one that did go to... It might have been Blizzard take the wheel. So, very interesting on that end, that it might have been Blizzard causing issues, or, them failing the timer. I mean, it's not like Blizzard just ruined them. They failed to pick a hero in the correct time.
I mean, that's something you can play through that occasionally.
I mean, it can, yeah. So.
You'll know Junkrat, though.
No Junkrat. No pick or ban on the...
A third very good Junkrat map as well.
Yeah, to be fair, can you name a bad Junkrat map?
I think Dragonshire doesn't favor him especially. Although you can
put the
use
traps
him
in the bushes rotating, and
you can use him as your mid soak pickup, and I think that's pretty decent. He's all right in that regard. There are no bad Junkrat maps, but there are maps that I like him better on, and that tends to be the objectives you can stall without having to put your body at risk. So
that's entirely fair.
Sky Temple a little bit less so, because you can't stop a Dahaka from just getting value if you're just 1v1 or something.
Yeah. Doing a little bit of profile scouting.
Ooh.
There is a level 33 Zeratul on Bird, so I think that is the definitively targeted ban there.
Is there a similarly leveled or better Chromie somewhere?
I see a level 89 Chromie on the healer, but I will say there is a level 209 Alexstrasza. So maybe that was hovered, but wasn't the intended pick or something like that. But there's definitely over 1,000 Alexstrasza games in Storm League. That's a lot of Alex.
It really is.
Trying to look through if I see any more Chromie pickups. It's level 50 Leoric. Checks out for how much Leoric we've been seeing.
Just a good hero, though. I'm almost never unhappy to see a Leoric.
I revisited, I was looking through some clips and was reminded of the Cursed Hollow game we played with Fury, 5 years ago.
I remember it well.
I know you do. That's why I can bring it up. That I still have clipped to this day. And you landed 5 different light bombs, and he complimented them.
Yep. If I recall correctly, at one point, Leoric entombs someone between their own keep and freedom.
Correct. The opening was just the keep. It was 2 people, and Orphea got to Eternal Feast, a perfect wall against Malfurion Jaina.
That's what happens when you're on the fun side of someone's Bronze GM run.
That was clean. That was a clean. We were. Do you remember who was on the other team in that game?
I do. It was. Sir restreams a lot.
It is the one, the only fan Hots on Kira. And yeah, and fun times.
That's as much as we're going to say about that.
You remember that fun time 5 years ago when I actually played Storm League?
Yeah. I wish that I could like Storm League a bit better.
Yeah, you know. You got the salty old people, and that's all that's left.
I mean,
I'll be playing this game for.
I'll be 36 this month, so I am definitely that.
Oh goodness. Zeratul going to be the constant on the ban out. I'm curious what the second ban will be. Just straight up unsure. Gonna burn this one down to the timer. Sylvanas is going to remain the ban.
Yeah.
For HGT. And yeah, I'm not super sure what we're going into with this. Gonna go with the Chromie. So Hanzo is available. How would you like to proceed?
Yeah, I don't know that I super favor HGT's, especially second ban. Like, I get Sylvanas is really strong and annoying to play against. I like this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to game 2, where admittedly it makes a little bit less sense to go with the Samuro, I like that ban here. And now you get the leftovers of Hanzo or Johanna.
But you can only have one of them.
No.
Choose wisely.
I'm saying HGT get... Oh my god, they can get both.
Whoa! That's a Leo. Leo? That's Leo plus Leoric pickup all in one. That's a steal away from Uga, who has been comfy on it. There's Johanna and the Kael'thas. Seems
also
like
steals. Do you think we get the counter Hanzo? I want it.
Very possible. It seems like Nilo and Sulfrenia are working with a very similar hero pool, with this Kael'thas being drafted by one of them in all 3 games so far.
Yep.
And the other 2 heroes were also mages on what will be all 3 games.
I mean, Sulfrenia could take a non-mage. We do continue to have 100% Hanzo and Johanna representation. And Leoric, right?
Well, yep, and Leoric.
And
Welcome
Kael'thas.
to 2024. Oh my goodness. Me. Come on, pick some different heroes.
This is... I mean this in the nicest way possible, but this is the Gold League Storm League game of NGS of all time.
I totally really appreciate the games and everything. That is totally exactly what it is, where you're like, these are our heroes, and they just, the Venn diagram of our heroes and their heroes is like 80% overlap. And so you're just slugging it out to see what combination of the wanted heroes you will get.
And none of that has ever been reflected in bans.
Yeah, exactly, because they can't get rid of it, or else.
All right,
good ban.
One ban. There across 3 games. Across 3 games, one hero was banned that was played at some point in the series.
Yeah, I think the Diablo is a reasonable preemptive pickup. So
I think so too, just because of the style of blow-up we've been seeing from HGT that have a hard time bursting a Diablo. But you know who else they could probably have a hard time bursting is Garrosh.
Yeah, also true.
So
Sonya.
Leap, Light Bomb, Kael'thas damage.
That sounds very effective. Blessed Shield, Gravity Lapse.
I actually like it a lot because of ease of execution. Sonya is one of the easiest heroes in the game to combo with Light Bomb. And it's much harder to deal with than it is to execute, and Deckard Cain is not the healer you want going up against that.
Yeah, you're entirely correct there. That Deckard is not good at saving people. That's his big weakness. A noob Li Ming.
Sylphania got to bother them into letting her play Li Ming, because I think that the Gul'dan is the much better pickup here.
I don't know. We have to have some kind of auto attack, or doesn't have to be whatever. I'm already just favoring HGT's draft. Regardless of what they pick. Asterisk. I was gonna say, unless it's something like a murky.
Are you sure about that?
Oh no, Valeera is exactly one of those heroes that. Oh my god, she's so hard to play. Like, don't get me wrong, if you play the Valeera well, it will be effective. But holy god, talk about something harder to execute than play against. Valeera, I think, is the poster child
I feel like
of that draft philosophy.
I feel like the first 2 games took place on Tuesday, and then we time traveled back to Fun Day Monday for Game 3.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Valeera.
2 serious games, but now it's time to fuck around. Spawning on the right-hand side in the orange trunks, our heavy grip therapy with Bird playing the Valeera, Uga on Sonya Nalo, playing the Mage on Kel'Thas, Shadra on Johanna, and the Wangwin on Manduin.
And on the left side of the map, in the cyan trunks, we have Pepegas on ice, Peas playing the Anubarak, Tikor on the Deckard Cain, Torrens stealing the Leoric, Sylphrenia on the Li Ming, and Creepio reprising on Hanzo.
Alright, checking the level 1s, even-handed, checking the Anduin hero, not running with scissors, so let's go Pepegas. We have the, Crippling Poison on the Valeera. Shockwave build coming out from Sonya, and then I would say pretty normal stuff on the rest of the 2. Q build coming out from the from Sylphrenia, I think, is a little interesting.
Yeah, it's specifically not Q build, it is Force Armor that you take that talent for, so you don't get bursted by Valeera as much. You hit the magic missiles, grab a couple stacks of 50 spell armor, and then you move on with your life.
Thank you, Eternally Blue TV, for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We are in game number 3. If you want to see how we got here, you've got about 3 seconds. And we're back to the action. Such as it is at this point, phase in the game on Curse Hollow.
Yep. Ektar, I do know the meta Valeera, at least the main Valeera build that I know, so we will keep up to date, but Crippling Poison is the start of it.
That is correct. When I started my alt account, I'm like, I'm going to learn Valeera, and played her for like 30 games and stopped. Valeera, I think I have seen run competently in the offlane from time to time. However, Bird is quite low, and already had to tap, and not trading particularly well into the Leoric.
I will tell you, I have a distinct memory of somebody named Random absolutely crushing top lane on Valeera on Braxis Holdout. It was really impressive.
I have a very similar memory, but it was Dragonshire. I don't know if the player was named Random.
Yeah. I know that exists because I have it renamed in my replays folder, but it is somewhere. I have seen it before. We will see what happens. Important Bruiser is not being picked up immediately for Pepegas on Ice after for the Siege Camp first, which Valeera cannot handle.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely not. It does give potential advantage for the side of Heavy Group Therapy if they, I was going to say, hold on to this camp for just a little bit. As it is, Sylphrenia might be able to clear it in time to make it to the objective without missing too much time with the rest of the team.
Yep, objective going to spawn, or at least be announced right about there. And we will see what the teams opt to do, whether it's kind of 5-man ooga booga at the objective, or if they're going to try and keep somebody split out, try and take an XP advantage and just poke it down for a little bit, which could really work for the Pepegas if they A, don't get Valeera bursted, and 2, can Hanzo stall.
Yep. They did already have Uga in top lane, so I would not be surprised if that was in fact their plan.
Watch bottom.
I've been watching. I see it on the mini-map. Sophronia is going to get engaged upon. Has the 50 spell armor, so it doesn't take too much off of that. Bird actually... Oh my god, I lost the plot there as we were watching the Valera attempt, as First Blood goes over much earlier in this game compared to the others.
Yep, Thorns gets taken out, but already is 90% respawned. Here is going to be back in just a second with that Undying trait. Spawns directly in the dead center of the team. Chases down towards Uga, who's in there 1v5ing practically, but is going to go ahead and escape with the life, but not the hit points. And Sulfrenia is going to channel objective, and that should just be the first one done since Valera opted to soak and not contest.
Yeah, speaking of not being able to clear Bruiser camps, Valera in mid lane.
Hey, Blade Flurry does some area damage.
You were the one who said... Oh, yeah, it was a siege camp that she couldn't clear, not the Bruiser camp. But then they also couldn't do that. I actually like the going onto Peas because, you know, for all of his spell armor protections, Nubrak doesn't have a ton of raw health, so the damage onto him actually is more meaningful than onto most of the other tanks.
Yeah, that's free damage anywhere. It forces cautious rotations. If nothing else, if Bird keeps playing in a style that is advantageous... Ooh, here comes the engage on Bird. Is going to go ahead and probably Sinister Strike out. Yeah.
That's a little bit harder with the 4 and 7 pickup, though, because one of them, I'm pretty sure, shortens the range.
It is a 7 Mutilate. But it makes the damage way higher. Her burst is now way more deadly.
It's true.
But real quick before the spawns, having Valera just constantly harangue rotations will start to take a toll on the Pepega's ability to rotate with a safe conscience, if you wish.
Also, it seems like Pepegas have decided they don't really want to try and contest on this objective. They just want to poke it out because they have their Leoric still on the siege camp. Granted, there's not a Sonya here. They backed fully. But this is... I was going to say, should give the members of Heavy Group Therapy the ability to step in, but they're just really not looking for it. And Pepegas are getting a ton of stall time, although they're down in XP, so I don't know exactly what they're looking to get here.
Yeah, the Leoric is taking a long time to take this camp, because that's what a Leoric does. Here comes the engage out in a 5v4 scenario. Isn't going to result in any kills. Shadra is going to take a bunch of damage.
Leoric's on the way now, though. He's almost here, and Heavy Group Therapy have already kind of lost this fight.
Yeah, Shadra just walks back the other way and dies. Maybe trying to dodge the Hanzo, but so far it looks like the Pepegas on Ice are controlling these fights way better right now.
Hanzo's a good hero, man.
Hanzo's a
That's what I've
heck
learned.
of a hero.
Oh, we saw Tikor use a gem to clear bottom lane, probably Ruby. There it is.
No Ruby.
Oh, no Ruby. He must have been Sapphire. Yeah, you can see the cooldown.
Yeah, it's Potion of Shielding to provide that extra burst heal against Valera. I don't disagree with that. I think it might be kind of hard to hit a bunch of people with Ruby, so I'm not upset by that.
Yeah. I don't know that they needed the Emerald, though. Like, Anduin's not a big healer.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Hanzo is going to back in time for this objective. It's on their side of the map, so they should have a lot of time to stall on this. Both teams are going to take their boss, but it's coming up pretty slowly for the side of Heavy Group Therapy. Isn't going to get scouted out. It's probably inferred by Pepegas on Ice, but not in a position where they want to... Oh my god, they're looking for it.
Oh my god. This
Torrens
is not
does
a good
get out
idea.
of the point.
Large... Oh. Huge Dragon Arrow, huge leap, huge stay a while. It's going to hit for 4. All of a sudden, everybody dies. There are 5 kills. Make that 6, and Pepegas just mop this up, and this is actually almost game ending. Straight up, this could end the game.
Yeah,
like,
with objective, 2 bosses pushing. Yeah, this is going to be crazy amounts of damage. This mini wave is going to get taken out right away. I thought that Heavy Group Therapy were going to be able to find a kill before, really before Hanzo arrow came in. I thought that Peas was going to die for sure, if not both Peas and Torrens. But Heavy Group Therapy just didn't have the ability to put the damage out where they needed to quickly enough, and Pepegas were able to turn it in an incredibly powerful way.
Yeah, this is a 4-fort kind of play where they're going to find obscene value everywhere.
Yeah. Every fort,
game,
probably a keep.
Yeah, that is... It's not game-ending, but it the risk reward of that play is so unbelievably tough for heavy group therapy that it's not going to be great. Leoric's diving in on the other side of the fort is going to go ahead and make his way out while Bird tries to make something happen here. Peas gets a huge potion just in the nick of time along with a stun. Uga's now going to get jumped upon. Does get saved by the Anduin there, but as kind of expected, 4 buildings were taken down there. And they're not done yet. Pepegas still looking for mid.
Yeah, I think that was a critical moment of just not having the damage ranges there. Peas was able to walk out with like sub 10% hit points, and even if HGT were even on levels, I think that they definitely get the kill there. They defend mid keep, but yeah, we're going to continue to feel the ramifications of that boss still for the rest of the game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just anytime you're down 2 curses, you need to be 100% certain you are not losing a boss, because that is a fast way to lose most of a game. Like, straight up, you can lose a game through 2 forts in a lane late. It doesn't matter. It's a massive situation. They're trying to pick up all 6 buildings before the 10-minute mark here, Ektar.
Yeah, it's a little risky, though. This does give the opportunity for HGT to find an even team fight and get a pickup off of it, but looks like the killing floor is very wet tonight as the blood of heavy group therapy is just falling all over the place. 2 more uncontested kills going over in favor of Pepegas and Ice. They don't technically have this keep yet, but it is going to go down very shortly.
Seems to be a little bit of... Okay, Peas and Torrens both went forward. The heal, T-Core and Sulfrania went back. But, wow, 6-0 building advantage on Cursed Hollow for the rest. Like, there are katas in every lane for the rest of the game. That is an unbelievable amount of map pressure that, at this point, Pepegas should just not fight, basically ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless they're up 16 or something like that, which they will be here in just a moment.
So, if you're HGT, do you try to play this game fast or very slow?
You need to find picks. You need to find like 2 picks with a Sonya Leap and a Valera combo. And you need to try and capitalize on that, and then switch it around, go for Boss Curse, and that's kind of your way into it. And you have to play slow until you can make exactly all of that happen.
I wonder if you don't play obscenely slow. Like,
not obscenely.
Like, don't even kill minion waves until they're on your core to deny your opponent's XP, so that you can get to 16 before your opponents can get to 20. On the other hand, boss is happening.
Yeah, you can't let that happen.
This might be where they have to make a play. They could let boss go and just try to defend it on their core, and I don't think Pepegas are going to try to push with this boss. They're just going to get off the map.
Yep.
But it could be a play where you try to take a fight down 16 under the boss to try to find a play off of that. HGT are really far forward with their front line. Shadra could get engaged upon. Nice. Unstopped is going to stop the cocoon, but this means that they now have no more crowd control. Shadra, nice pull coming out from the long wind. A lot of buttons coming out from Pepegas and Ice, to the point that they kind of shouldn't push in anymore until this boss gets onto the core.
I don't even think they need to do that. Just grab your tribute and move on. They don't need to force anything, ever.
They're making the obvious play of, we're up 16, good time to fight.
And, you know, team fighting has worked for them. We'll see if it continues.
No, light bomb leap with the light bomb, as Uga is going to get stunned out. Or, rooted out. No, stunned. Big damage coming out of the Creepio, but without the levels, isn't going to find a kill there. Big damage actually going into Torrens. I believe it was the silence coming up from Valera, securing that kill. We get the Ming set and Shadra taking a lot of damage. The core is starting to fall. 70% no shields, and a fairly healthy boss Pepegas are going to try to end.
Oh, I think they can here, too. Creepio, none of them shooting at the core exactly, but the boss is enough. Takes it down, and Pepegas takes by far the most convincing game of the series, game number 3.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to find a game less convincing than that in the division. And not just because we're in the second day of the first week, but like that's assuming that I did my job properly. Most games should be more competitive than that.
To be fair, I think that game is legitimately one mistake. They being HGC, piled 4 people onto that point.
HGC is that thing we don't have.
Yes. I avoided that all night and then did this. You have to have your designated point standers. And if you get more people on the point, it doesn't overpower the capture. You're just getting stunned by a 4-man dragon arrow. To that end, I mean, the area of effect ults from Pepegas were beyond disgusting there, with Stay a While, Entomb, and Dragon's Arrow all just ending that fight.
And I'm pretty sure near the end of it, Sofrenia was just mashing the E key.
That's the best way to play.
I mean, when all of your buttons are on cooldown, and that's the one that comes out fastest, I totally get it.
Whew. Well, let's go ahead and chat with your former team.
Did they already send someone?
See what they have to say. I don't know. I would hope they do. We can prepare.
All right, we have T-Core for the interview. Somewhere. I can see he's in the NGS some areas. He's down in the waiting room. I'm just going to drag him up a couple of spaces. Hello there.
Hey.
Congratulations on your 2-1 victory.
Thank you.
If you don't mind my asking, how did you get nominated for this position as by far the member of Pepegas Ice with the shortest tenure?
They said throw the new guy at it, and I'm like, all right.
Hey zing.
You heard it here first, folks. No, but congratulations on the win. How's everybody feeling after that?
They're feeling pretty good. That third game was pretty darn clean, so we're very happy about how a lot of that worked out.
So thinking all the way back to like an hour and a half ago and change, all the way to Alterac Pass, can you sort of step me through the team's strategy going into this series?
Certainly. So we had scouted that their star player was a menace on Zeratul. So that was first ban the whole time. We also did some scouting on same player Chromie to try and push him off into some of his less played heroes. Like the Valera wasn't as impactful as I think the Zeratul could have been. The Alterac Pass, we had a pretty good poke team. We tried to make things happen front to back, but they ended up going back to front. I think that was counter to our expectations going into that particular game. We got our camp times off pretty good, and even though we were behind experience on a couple of points, we just weren't afraid to take fights because we were confident in our micro.
Yeah, that was sort of what Ace and I assessed during that game. Both of you kind of drafted combo blow-up comps, but I feel like the combo blow-up potential was a little bit left on the floor as it so often does, just sort of devolved into 2 teams fighting each other as a group of 5 individuals against 5 other individuals. But genuinely in most of those engagements, we felt like you kind of just buttonsed better than your opponents did.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking as well. I mean, those bruisers, their job is to mess up the plan, right? And so our dinosaur was making sure that their combo didn't land, and so that happened a lot.
So because you are the healer player and I am also a healer player, I've got to ask, what's with the Lornado in Game 1? I don't feel like that got as much value as you were probably hoping for.
So the team was calling for the Lornado to counter Tomb engage, but then I got lucky and most of the Tombs missed mid game, and so I was kind of just sitting on my Lornado too long and then using it for little value. But when no one's in the Tomb, then that's it's kind of a wash there.
Yeah, alrighty. Moving into an even closer game in the game number 2, it sort of feels like there's an incredible amount of overlap between the two team styles, actually.
Yeah,
Like-
they stole our damage. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Yep. They definitely did the I like your comp, I think I will take it going into game number 2. And so what was kind of the adjustment you had to make facing down what you had just ran?
So we think, and you'll have to ask the other team this. We were expecting the Tracer. We let the Tracer through, and we wanted to just stun Peeler with Uther and then just murder her. But then we didn't get the Tracer, and so our adjustment was, well, we thought we were going to have a combo target in the back, and that target did not appear. How do we initiate now? And the default became Muradin jumping into us, but Muradin survived a lot of our combos.
Muradin
and-
definitely jumped into you guys. There was never a want for that.
yeah. So the plan, the adjustment was, all right, we're gonna murder Muradin now, but we didn't really draft the percent damage to make Avatar Muradin fall down in the amount of time that he needs to fall down in some of those team fight engages. And trying to catch Muradin out got me caught in a silence entomb in that last engagement. I think that threw the game at that point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Torrens did go percent damage on the Rainer, but that's pretty late in the game to be getting that. And at that point, other things start to become more significant factor, like the Silence Entomb a couple of levels later. And I would say at least as impactfully, they really did start to get their combos together a lot better. Like, in game 1, there was almost never a time where, like, Entomb and Jaina were kind of dealing the same damage and putting buttons in the same place.
Well, our damage did a good job of holding buttons on the engage until Jaina was in range, and then making sure she couldn't follow up by blowing all the buttons on her. Because she has to get close, right? There's no fight. It's a 5v4 if Jaina never gets close. So you just wait for Jaina to get in range and throw all the buttons on her, and then there's no Jaina follow up. So
I will say that despite losing game 2, I think that's probably the best Horrifies I've ever seen coming out of Sylphrenia. They killed or saved so many people over the course of that game.
And the Tyranda's birds, man, they were really good at the vision. So we drafted towers trying to control the jungle with no vision picks. And so I think that hampered our strategy. I think we could draft better into that strategy.
And going back into the healer chat, Tyrande didn't actually out-heal the Uther, I think, almost at all. Maybe even not at all.
Yeah, I was ahead of her most of the game, yeah.
But in the late game, when everything was said and done, approximately even heal numbers, but Tyrande was up 50k damage on you, which...
yeah, I believe that.
Which,
yeah.
It doesn't matter how much the healers outdamage each other until it really starts to matter, and percent damage on a button that can get resets mid-combat matters.
I thought I was going to be banging on a Tracer in the backline, and my Uther peel kind of just didn't have anybody to go land on.
Yeah, Uther is a little tough into Hanzo Kael'thas as a damage core.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there were some 50 armor positioning into Hanzo arrow, double dragon arrow that did bring the team through that and let us just kind of muscle into the second half of the team fight. But yeah, KT is his damage is too spread out, like over several different hits for Uther to effectively counter.
Moving on to game 3, I think there's only one question that has a relevant answer, and that was who made the call to invade boss.
I think that was Tomjin on comms that made that call. And I was asking for the call. I was like, do we channel, do we boss? And because I saw my tank kind of like positioning over there, and the call was boss. And so that got us a pretty good wombo.
Yeah, that was a play that made the way that it was at the time that it was either going to set you back a lot or win you the game outright. Like, obviously, just kind of fighting boss more or less straight up fighting your opponent straight up under boss is very risky, especially when you had to overextend your Leoric and your Anubarak so much to even get there in the first place.
And no potion setup. Yeah.
Yep. It was very likely that those two would have died, and then you'd lose the objective. Granted, it would have been their first one, but they probably get a fort out of it, and then you're just behind a lot of the game. Or you win the fight on boss, you get the objective, and it's your third one, so you get 2 bosses and objective, and functionally win the game off of that. So it was a very high risk, but even higher reward play that I was genuinely quite surprised to see get made. And even more surprised to see it work, to be honest.
These guys are aggressive. We'll be winning the game, and they'll be looking to do camp invades. And so we'll see if we can micro our way through that and get everybody on the same page, and catch people clumping. You know, because we bring some scary AOE a lot.
All right. I think that just about covers what I had to say. Ace, you got anything?
No, you covered all of it. It was good. Orc.
Hyper, do you have anything? Do you want to talk to the stream, Hyper? No,
He already is. Don't worry.
Yeah, but now I said his name, so there he is. Now, and I said his name and then stopped paying attention to him, so he's upset. So Tikor, we're gonna give it back over to you to give any shoutouts that you want to give.
Oh, shout out to Pepegas on Ice for inviting me into the team this year. I'm happy to play with them, and I'm melding into the main healer role, and we'll see how far we go.
Alrighty, well, that concludes our interview. Thank you very much for coming by, and
You're welcome.
Looking forward to seeing your progress through the season.
GG's.
All right, well, that was cast 1 out of the hopeful 15 that I'm going to look to do so that I can make our head caster draw a portrait of me, as she was so gracious in offering to do for any caster that does 15 games over the course of the season.
1/X, as you would make a thread.
I
Or
was
1 out of question mark.
Yeah, I was gonna throw a raid over to the Div E match that started 30 minutes later than us, but I see that the caster Eternally Blue TV has already raided us, so that's not a possibility. Let's see if Snarfungus is still casting.
Do you want to be on the stream, Cleo?
Alright, I do see that there is still a stream up. It looks like it's probably late into Game 3, so we want to get this getting on going out of here. Ace, thank you very much for coming on by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't know if we're actually going to get all the way to 15. That's kind of a lot, but, you know, we'll see what we can do.
If you had playoffs, we have a better chance.
Ooh, that's fair. I was going to try to use the raid menu, but I don't like it, so I'm just going to type it, because I'm an old man. We hit the /raid on Snarfungus, open our own stream, so we can see when it goes.